Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. We can't stay here today. We're going to go talk with George Brooks of Cremalab, a great Kansas City tech company. You're going to love this. Stay tuned. Hanging out here at Cremalab, getting ready for the interview with George Brooks. Right by Kaufman. It's just awesome. Awesome locale. Love the place. They got me water. Very nice people. Hi, and welcome to Isaac TV. Today we've got George Brooks, Cremalab. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Such a pleasure.
Very excited to be here today. Just another great technology company here in Kansas City, downtown area, right here in the Arts District. Great place. And I want to just jump right in with George and talk about what was it like starting Cremalab. So as a founder, you think it's going to be this hard to start this company. But really, it was this hard, right? So can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I'll even put a little spin on that. The reason that it was hard for me is I went out on my own first as a designer. And I actually quit my job as a designer in an agency world when my daughter was in the hospital. So she had been in the hospital for about 2 months. And then I realized she was going to be there a lot longer. And so I was driving like 45 minutes to get to work and then 45 minutes to get to the hospital. And they would call on a regular basis saying, hey, she might die right now. You need to get here right now.
Oh my goodness.
Life support and all these kind of crazy things. So I quit my job in that agency and really had hoped to set up as a contractor to work for this guy. But this is 2007, 2008. The economy's in a really good spot at this point. Work with him. And that guy ended up being my kind of foray into entrepreneurship. What's it like to build apps? It just dove me in head first into designing and project managing a large-scale web application project. So just to jump in, she's in 3rd grade, 9 years old. If you didn't see the scars, you wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, I wanted you to wrap that up. I was like, oh, wow.
And I've had 2 other girls since then, so absolutely precious. But the reason I started a business was because I kind of got forced into questions. So I got shoved into it, but then I think you talk about what's hard and what becomes harder was I did totally everything wrong, right? There's this thing called taxes. Trump might disagree with but there's this thing called taxes that I had no idea that I should be like paying my own tax. I mean, like all these normal business things. I was a designer. Yeah. So about 1.5 years into it, and almost 2 years into it, I did pay taxes, to be clear.
Okay, IRS, we heard you.
Yeah. But I realized, you know what, I need somebody to help me run this. We were starting to get more clients. I had just hired my first employee. I wanted a team around me. I didn't want to do it solo forever. Yeah. And so I teamed up with my business partner, Daniel Linhart, and that was a little over 7 years ago.
Wow.
And man, since then we've really changed and become more than a design agency. We're a tech company now. And I'll let you kind of say that.
So next question for you, George, is I like to take a 2-year look at, what have you been doing lately? Last 2 years, what's your work looked like?
Yeah, so I think the last 2 years has really been a focus on product. We started out as a digital company. We'll just call it digital marketing or digital communications or whatever that we want to call that. And we realized our forte was really in building apps. And when I say apps, it's that real world of what is an app. Most people go, an iPhone app or an Android app or the BlackBerry or whatever anybody's using. Our world really was about building web applications. So something that somebody needed to log into, they had a username and a password, and they had some function behind it. A lot of times that's kind of in the B2B space. Sometimes we do a consumer experience. Like Facebook, it's not a website, it's an app, right?
It is.
And Twitter, same way. That's an app. It's not really a website. It's just not communication content. So we really got into this space of building applications, or what we now call, or kind of coin, ecosystems. So now we're thinking about building a web application that has iOS front end and an Android front end, a web front end, and this whole environment. And then really in the last 2 years, we've been really excited to help both entrepreneurs and enterprises that are trying to launch specifically new products to the market.
How are you, it sounds like a lot of B2B stuff, or B2C?
Both, really.
But is it sometimes inside B2B organizations too? They need to talk to themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. We just recently finished up prototyping a large-scale kind of enterprise solution, and it's totally going to be at a B2B play. And so I think the reality is you're still focused on solving a problem and providing the right solution. And the only way you can figure out what the right solution is to make an assumption statement and try to figure out how to prove you're right. So.
I like that. Make an assumption, prove yourself right.
That's about it.
I do that
Test everything.
That's what I do in my marriage. That's what I think. I tell you I'm right.
Yeah.
All right, doesn't always work. So let's talk about where you see things going for the future, Cremalabs.
Yeah, so the last year we really have grown a lot. We stayed at that kind of 7 to 8 person size agency, kind of boutique style company for a long time, and we loved that size. And Dan and I kind of said, well, what if we grew? What if the team was bigger? What if we could take on more? So in the last year we about doubled in size. We're about up to 20 right now, which is a fun size. Great team, just synced up. And I think the next year is going to show a little bit more growth. Hopefully bring on a few more people to do more projects. And then my big goal, and I'm very open in saying this, is that I love the service-based work. That is where my heart is, and I love serving people. But the reality is I really want to figure out where that recurring revenue is. Where can I get outside of just being at the billable hour? So strategic relationships with some of the clients that we're working with is one piece of that. Then also thinking about products that maybe we want to incubate inside of Crema.
Wow.
That's pretty exciting. I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty pumped about that. I've got one of the best product teams that I've ever interacted with. I'm spoiled about that, and I want to have these guys be able to build stuff for us. And so that's the long term.
So I'm very interested in agile project management inside of marketing. I know it's big time in your space. Are you guys into it, or do you do something else? Or
yeah, I mean, as much as any company actually is. I think that it's everybody's like, yeah, we're agile, and the short and long of it is that we are, but we're not religious about it. And like true agile people are almost religious about it. So our thing is all about thinking that it needs to be an iterative process. You need to set your velocity for how much can I get done in a certain amount of time, and then measure that velocity to make sure that it's accurate. I mean, the reality is I think our world did it wrong for a long time, which is that we said, yeah, for sure, I know exactly what I can provide you 6 months from now. And that's a total lie. We're just making up a number and then hoping that it's true at the end.
Because humans are bad at estimating. I'm reading the book again right now.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Okay, so concluding thoughts, I want to get something from George about, because, Isaac TV is all about lead generation and marketing. And I mean, you probably develop for marketers. You think about marketing all the time. You're involved in it. Sometimes you're doing it. So what are your thoughts on where marketing is going right now?
I mean, we just had a conversation actually about this as an internal team earlier today, and we're trying to figure out how we market ourselves, right? We want to tell the story of who Crema is and what we're good at and what we want to be, And so we actually literally were just having this conversation earlier, and I think it is, the stereotypical answers go back to like, is that inbound or outbound kind of marketing? I think we're really passionate about putting really good content out, telling really good stories. I think video is the future.
Yes.
I'm all about it right now. We have a YouTube channel, totally subscribe to it. We put out a weekly video.
Subscribe now. I'm going to give a link to his subscription and to mine. I think I can do that on YouTube.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, there you go.
We really need to be thinking about what are the first 10 customers? How do we find those people? How do we make those people change their literal routine of their day? And I think that's something we forget in marketing, is that people have habits that shape every single thing they do every single day. You don't remember driving certain places because your body will just do it on autopilot. Yeah. And so what we now have to do as marketers or as someone that's building a product and trying to give it out to the world, we have to interrupt the comfort of people's existing lives. And we may think that we're solving some big problem for them, but they may be even okay living in the world that doesn't solve that problem.
Thanks for having me over today.
Excited.
And I'm going to cut this thing up, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for coming out.